Hello, this is a review of Insecure Season 4, Episode 9. And when I tell you that this 30-minute some odd video was like super spicy, like it was good, okay? And this season, to me, has been dragging somewhat. We've been getting, hot takes and following the storylines and dealing with 30-minute episodes. And now it comes to like episode 8 and 9, and I'm like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I'm feeling. But there's a lot to unpack from episode 9, so let's get into it. So from episode 8, Issa and Lawrence, they found each other, again, linked up. And so episode 9 comes about, and now they chilling hard. You ever met up with an ex, or even met up with somebody and y'all kicking it or whatnot and talking, and then like you have that next phase where it's just like you spending a lot of time together and you having a lot of sex together and you laughing and you chilling. Well, that's what Lawrence and Issa was doing, and it was absolutely amazing. They were chilling hard. I mean, again, chilling and laughing, having sex, and on social media, and then having sex again, and then more sex on top of more sex, and then eating, and just it was great. It was beautiful. It was like straight quarantine vibes. I know this episode was recorded before the quarantine, but regardless of the fact, like it was definitely giving like quarantine vibes in the way they were hanging out. So I just loved every bit of it. But regardless of the fact, so Nathan sends Issa a text and about later on this week, because he's unpacking his apartment or whatever, his boxes, or he plans to, and Issa agreed to it. So Issa mentions it to Lawrence, and he's like, well, dang, I got you sprung out like that. And she's like, nah, whatever. And she's like, I don't want to mess this up. And I was like, dang. You know how you can just be like, again, just dealing with somebody and you don't put a title on anything. You just kind of rolling with the wind. Sometimes that could be like a dangerous thing, but at the same time, like, it could be okay to just kind of vibe with it and see where things go. But also, I want to mention protecting your heart. Okay, so do what's right when it comes to that type of situation. So you won't be asking, what is this? But I mean, hey, pick a side. You do what's right. But anyway, so Lawrence mentions that, hey, Condola and I talked and we're done. So I'm like, dang, she done with the show too. Okay, she was just there for the beginnings. But to me, I was just like thinking to myself, I thought she was going to last the whole season and I was going to see how that was going to play out, but it didn't work out like that. And then at some point I was like, well, dang, maybe Issa and Lawrence might, get back with each other and start dating again. But so we have our answer, but we still have episode 10. You never know what'll happen. So we saw a sneak peek, but that's neither here nor there. Okay. So boom, we move to the next scene with Molly, and she's with her therapist, which happens to be a Black therapist, which is very key, and who you select to help you with your, your mental health or just getting therapy or counseling. Like, that's very important because you want to deal with somebody you can relate to. This therapist seems to be middle-aged, well, like more so like an older woman. She's like been there, done that, has the wisdom going on top of her therapy skills. So that is a definite plus as well. So, Molly is mentioning Issa, Andrew's brother, her dad, and it's everybody's fault, and Issa's wrong especially. And it's just like Molly is giving off it's their fault type of vibe. And the therapist, asks her a couple questions, like, do you want to be right or do you want to be in a relationship? Do you want to do the work in relationship? Do you want to do the work in the relationship? Like, what are you going to do to make everything right? How are you going to be the bigger and better person to heal these relationships? Because it can't be dad cheated or left mom or whatever, and so you're scarred forever and you're holding that over his head. Like, how long are you going to hold that anger before it blows up? You know, you got into an argument with your boyfriend's brother. Look, you don't know what direction you and Andrew are gonna go in. Like, y'all can be long term, but I mean, I'm not saying you need to sit here and just kiss his brother's ass, but at the same time, you know, be on neutral grounds. And then when it comes to Issa, we're moving on to that part next because they're gonna meet up. But anyway, so in the next scene, okay, Issa's making calls because she needs advice about, you know, Lawrence versus Nathan. What am I doing? And she just needs some advice in the whole situation. You know how girls, you know how we can be. We overthink things. Blah blah blah. So Issa calls Kelly. Kelly's voicemail is hilarious. It is everything. It is in English and in Spanish. Like crazy. Then she calls her brother who's eating hot wings, and he's so focused on the fact that his nasal lining is about to burn up. He can barely answer the question. Yeah, he's like, yeah, you're overthinking. Okay. So that wasn't helpful. Then all of a sudden she calls Molly and she's just like, hey, I want to meet up and talk with you. So much is going on with work and I need advice and blah, 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 blah. And then Molly's like, sure, you know, but there you go, Molly, always wanting to talk about your problems. And then Molly starts popping off and then boom, another daydream, another hot take. So I was just like, dang, was she really for real? Like, that blew me away. I was like, dang, son. So anyway, and then Molly like actually calls, Issa actually calls Molly, and then she's like, hey, you want to meet up? So anyway, Issa gets there and she's being awkward black girl, rehearsing like, how am I gonna greet her when I see her? Like, whatever. She needed that mimosa, but she meets up with Molly and it's awkward at first, and then they start, you know, talking about the vacation pictures. The vacation that Molly went on to Mexico. It was Mexico, right? Yeah, I think. And then, you know, talking about the baby not being her, not the baby not being of her brother's. And then Issa started looking off to the side. I guess she was just looking for those mimosas because like things were getting awkward. So you know how you sitting with somebody and you're just like, dang, I'm oh gosh, where's those drinks at? Or where's that food at? Like everything feels weird or you don't want to be there anymore. Like I was catching that vibe. And then, you know, Issa goes on to say, you know, how was work? And, you know, Molly talks to her about work. And then after a while, they start getting to a groove of talking. It still looks a dash forced and somewhat awkward, but they push through the whole conversation to then, you know, start closing out and walking out. And Issa's like, yeah, I'm gonna help Nathan unpack. And Molly is giving off the vibe like, oh, okay. I mean, and she didn't add anything to it. You know how you just kind of like naturally talk with somebody, but like I was just like, dang. You could just tell that it was still not there. So anyway, Molly comes home to Andrew and, you know, she's ready to have wine, just sit there and chill out, you know, long day of work. Did she come from work? No, she didn't. Just came to sit down and have wine, excuse me. And, you know, Molly tells Andrew, hey, I talked to Issa and, she's like, yeah. And then Andrew is just like, did y'all talk about the block party? And basically Molly's like, you know, we're just not there yet in this whole situation. And then I think Andrew said something about making a peace offering with her brother, if I'm not mistaken. And then Molly changes the subject and talks about LaToya missing. I like how that's an ongoing storyline, but that's neither here nor there. But Andrew's on her side. So, So moving on, Issa's thinking about the next event, which is great because the block party was a success. So awesome. And so Issa and Lawrence are talking, and they're just talking about what's going on with each other. But one thing I want to take from their conversation is that Lawrence said maybe you needed space before trying again. Um, Him mentioning that was great advice for perhaps their situation, like them needing space before trying again with each other, if that makes sense. I thought that was really important during their conversation. So anyway, so Issa meets up with Nathan, and Issa is keeping her distance. Like, she's here, Nathan comes here, she goes to the other side, Nathan's still there. Nathan is picking up on it. It's like, here we go, another awkward situation. And so Nathan is, walking up behind Issa. He wants to put that thing on that back, okay? So, Issa reveals to Nathan that she's kind of like seeing her ex again. So Nathan goes to the cabinet, and he's just basically playing the competitor, like, hey, I hope he doesn't do you wrong again, blah blah blah. You know how guys can be, like, if a guy wants you and you talking about you possibly getting back with your ex, like, he gonna try to steer you away from him, because that's what men do. They're hunters, baby. They don't care about the other one. Okay, so anyway, so you know, Issa was saying something about Lawrence not leaving. She was trying to be shady boots. And Nathan revealed that, hey, basically he had a lot going on, and he found out he was bipolar. I was like, whoa. And that just helped to kind of dilute the whole situation, because it was getting a tad bit tense. But then to just learn that, he was dealing with bipolarism and he didn't know it. And then he finally found out, hey, this is what I'm dealing with. And he had to sort out a lot of things in his life, like, that helped to put things into perspective. So it wasn't just him leaving. It was just him recognizing, hey, I got a problem. What is going on with me? And then he found it out. But he said he wants her in her life. So, Issa catch tea. All right. So anyway, so Andrew and Molly are with each other again. So now, yes, Molly is off work and she has brought some grub. Okay. And so Andrew brings up Molly talking to her brother again. Okay. And Molly is kind of like, she has that type of attitude. She's kind of standoffish. Like, her demeanor says no, but she's just like, yeah, sure, type thing. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, Molly, are you going to do the work? Are you going to do the work to repair these relationships, honey? It could start with you. Because in my opinion, I feel like Andrew will put family over pussy and drop you. But I mean, I could be totally wrong in the way this thing is panning out. So anyway, Molly and Nathan, not Molly, Issa and Nathan, excuse me, they come over while Andrew and Molly are about to have a tense conversation. And they just, come up in it. They didn't even know what was really going on. So I was like, good, because I don't want to see no confusion right now at this moment. That's how I was feeling. And so I keep calling Molly, Issa and Nathan ended up staying and drinking, and they were playing a game. And in the middle of them playing the game, Molly sent a text not mistakenly. Jesus, I'm making up words. Molly mistakenly sent a text to Issa. She was like, see, I'm trying with her. She meant to send that to Andrew. And Issa was like, yo, I'm going to go. And it just, like, really just broke her to just get that text message from Molly, and it was just like sometimes things just happen for a reason and they're meant to happen. And it's like if she never got that text message, like she wouldn't have known how Molly was actually feeling. So Issa goes outside, Molly tries to stop her, and she was like, "Yo, I'm sorry, that text wasn't meant for you." And Issa was like, "Yeah, basically, I know." And it all came down to the fact that, but excuse me, well, let me back up a little bit. Issa was like, basically, she's trying to put in the work, and talking to her, like talking to her at the diner or whatever, and trying to get them to sit down and have a conversation. And Molly is basically like, maybe we don't fit anymore as friends. And that was a big old blow right there. Like, wow. And it made me think about outgrowing somebody. That's the first thing that came to mind. But I'm going to tell you this. I don't believe that people outgrow each other. I have a theory about that. I could be totally wrong in my thinking, but y'all tell me what you think when it comes to like outgrowing somebody. Like, were you really meant to be with that person? There are people that date each other. I'm sorry, excuse me. Date each other from like in their 20s up into their 40s. And I can imagine my growth as a woman I'm in my 30s, but my growth from my 20s to my 40s being quite tremendous in what I like to do and what professions I would have been in and will be in. Like 20s to 40s, excuse me, is like different things are happening in my life. And I'm not saying I'm going to live up to 40, but I'm just giving a time frame here. And so you're growing with somebody, and they're growing through your changes physically, mentally, psychologically. Like, that person is there. Friendship, marriage, whatever it may be. And when that person sticks to you through your growth as a human being, because y'all have never been here before in this life dealing with each other, like, this is the first time. And so when you grow up with a person and you go through all of these things and this person stays with you, that says a lot. But when people say you grow apart from someone, I'm just sitting here like, dang, were y'all really meant to be with each other? Were you really meant to stand the test of time with each other? I mean, I could be totally wrong in my thinking, but I'm just like, how do people grow up with each other in relationships? And then how are there people that disband or they become distant because they grew apart? It's like, are you willing to grow with me? It has an even deeper meaning when you're thinking about marriage, but wow. I think about a lot of my friendships that I've been in, and how, you know, those were not really my friends. It could have been years of just dealing with them. And I'm like, dang, they're not my friends. It may not be us growing apart. It may be us realizing that we're not compatible as friends. To to look at Molly and Issa, like, I wonder if there's still hope for their friendship. I could be totally wrong. Like, it just felt like everything was forced and awkward. And for Molly to have all these issues going on with everybody else, like, is it really her? And if she were to shift her outlook on things, would it help to heal her relationship with Issa? And maybe it not be the fact that they're growing apart. Maybe it's something else. Maybe Molly really needs to do the work. Maybe her mindset is becoming so polluted and negative and bitter because something is going on inside of her that's just shifting her mood. And I mean, Andrew is doing a good job of dealing with that. Okay, that's all I can say on that part, because again, I'm telling you, her brother, that's a major thing. He's being really nice with that because for some family it's blood over everything. Blood is thicker than water. So this episode was really good. It was really good. Let me just do an overall and how I feel about things. But Issa, I don't know how that's gonna go because Nathan is peeking through like, what's up? But it would be nice for Issa and Lawrence to work out. That would be good, but we're gonna see where that goes because episode 10 got me thinking like, I don't know. I really want Molly to do the work. I look at Molly sometimes and I see myself and I'm like, girl, reevaluate what's going on in your life so you can be better to the people in your life as well. Because that's how you end up by yourself, lonely, trying to figure out why is everybody doing things to you when it's really you. So for a moment, I was like, it's Issa. It's not Molly, it's Issa. And I'm going to just stand strong and I'm going to say it's Molly. But I hope she gets it together. Nathan, his mentions of bipolarism really touches on mental health, especially in the Black community. And I know it's cliche to say that, but Black people, please make sure that you're going to therapy, going to counseling, getting yourself, evaluated, checked, so you can live a great and wholesome life and not experience anxiety and depression and even thoughts of suicide every day. Let me see, I talked about Issa and Lawrence, Andrew. Like I said, he's tolerating Molly. I could be wrong, but we'll see how that goes with them. But again, this was a really good episode. I'm looking forward to episode 10, and they've been renewed for season 5. So they better be recording. They better be recording because I'm thirsty for the next season already. So, all right. Thanks again. Talk to you later, guys. Bye.